All right, so hello everybody, and welcome to episode 61 of the Community SparkCast.
6, 1. All right.
Yay!
Hey.
Combining numbers to make bigger numbers.
Exactly. So, hey guys, Thomas here, joining from Team Dakota, and
So,
it's another SparkCast week. Man, we should do like a theme song for SparkCast.
SparkCast! Nothing but the SparkCast!
SparkCast.
Okay.
SparkCast. We could
Yeah, I
do
guess we
that.
need to decide if we want to do a Broadway version or an 80s hair band special.
As long as there's jazz hands.
Okay, agreed. All right, so
What's the? My wife always brings it up. It's the from the what's bring it on or whatever, and he's like, "You call those jazz fingers?" And he's like, "No, these are jazz fingers or whatever, something to that effect."
that's the first I've seen of it, so thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, I'm sure someone in chat has seen that movie and it knows what I'm talking about.
Nope. Uh,
Dead silence.
Crickets.
It's like the original Bring It On with like oh I don't know. I don't know any of these I can't remember actor and actresses' names. I'm like terrible about that, but oh well.
I haven't seen it, so I couldn't even begin. All right.
Missing out.
So Project Spark.
Yeah, Project Spark, let's do it. What
Um,
is this thing? What is this poster behind me? What is this? No.
that's a good question. What is that poster? No, I'm kidding. Um, so what is that has been going on? Let's start with something in order. The thing you've been revealing for the past 2 weeks,
Oh
the
yeah,
giant
that's an
content
easy
pack.
one. Yeah, yeah. So the next upcoming pack that we've been talking about is Noxious Bog. So we've shown that off on stream now twice. Pretty much everything's been shown off there. Although we might have a few surprises tomorrow, but you guys will just have to tune in for that. But yeah, so we ran through like all the props and sounds and effects and what have you, characters. That's what we mainly covered on last Thursday. It is a very cool pack. Definitely my favorite biome that we've released so far.
I thought it was
Or
interesting that you
that we will
waited.
release. It hasn't happened yet, but
I found it interesting that you waited for a separate week before you started showing characters. Do you
it
have any
was. I
reason
think it was
why?
more like we ran out of time because there was so much stuff to show, and we didn't feel like we could adequately address like the characters in it. So we ended up just moving to another week.
Oh, is that the reason you're going with? Not that there were
That's
characters that you would have seen in the preview had you gone that week, the first week.
Well, in the first week, you there was like we flipped through the gallery and you could see the characters on there.
Oh, really? All of them? Even the one I was playing with that wasn't yet.
Oh yeah, not that one.
See, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, not that one.
Yeah,
Nope.
that one.
That one was successfully hidden away, but we were doing the yes. I'm thinking like the about the bird, the fish, and the lizard.
So Maple Platoon has a lore question, which I guess we'll stick in here. My understanding was there was no transforming between humans and sparks, but they're asking another question about a human turning into a spark. Did that
Yeah,
ever happen?
there's nope, because
Nope.
sparks are like they're like fragments of the creation well or like from him. So like the creation well isn't a human and neither are sparks.
Okay then. So how big is the Boglands? Like how many props was it? Did you guys count them up?
Oh, I think it's pretty beefy. I mean, I don't know an exact number. I think it's between like 30 to 40. It might be a little. I don't know if it's over 40, but I think it's in that 30 to 40 range. Um, and then there's quite a bit of effects too, like all those like perfect like ooze and water and
Right.
bubbly effects and things like that that are particularly cool. And then like the insects too and stuff. But yeah, I'd put it in there in that 30, I think 30 to 40 range is where it lands.
I did like when I was messing around with it that a lot of them had multiple versions of the same prop, like the mushrooms or the plants had similar versions that were just slightly adjusted.
Yeah, there's like a lot of vegetation, that's for sure, between like the different trees, and there's like the fertile tree, not non-fertile tree, and I think there's like 3 or 4 groupings of mushrooms. There's like 3 or 4 different um what are they? The bog rocks or I can't remember. And then there's like the pods, the roots. There's the bog roots, um the root rocks. And there's so many different naming things I'm trying to remember. But there's like the circular rock ones, and there's like three different ones of those, and there's like the ones that are tripedal or like big arch ones that can be like bigger pieces. So yeah, there's a ton.
So yeah, people in chat, feel free to ask more questions, and I'll pass them along. If they don't make a whole lot of sense, then I'll say that, and I'll pass them along as well. So Noxious Bog is waiting for TU16 to come, but you haven't given a like firm release window for it. Uh,
Yeah, that's true. We just keep jamming things into TU16, which has been making it a lot bigger. And it's gonna end up being a huge update. So yeah, no, still no like date I can give you yet on that, but it would be we're hoping to get it out there like mid to late September. So think like September 15th onward. That like 2 week window is probably when we're gonna get it out there.
so what is
And
the
soon after it'd be like, Boglands content pack or whatever. Noxious Bog.
so what is the things that you've announced for TU16 so far? Just as a quick recap.
Yeah, oh man, I feel like this is almost a landmine because I might end up stepping on something wrong, but I guess you guys will be here to catch me and be like, "Oh, that was not known before." Okay, so I know in the last state of Spark we revealed that we are gonna allow the minimum brush size to be lower. So like right now you can't take it any less than 15%. We're gonna bring that down to 5, which just helps you get a lot more detailed in your sculpting and your painting.
So it just
Uh,
means the brush size itself is getting smaller, not that you guys are just changing the scale on some arbitrary level. So
yeah,
it's actually gonna be
exactly.
a smaller brush.
Yeah, it's the brush is actually allowing you to manipulate pretty much the smallest we can actually go.
Well,
That
not
is like the smallest
because anything
possible.
like 4% just wouldn't have any effect whatsoever.
Yeah, basically, if it's less than 5%, it won't do anything to the voxels at that point. So it's like the smallest changes you can make to terrain, basically.
Okay, cool. Um, you also said in this update more bug fixes regarding crashes when editing a
Oh yeah,
variable
yeah, yeah.
now.
So there's a couple like I haven't seen really get brought up too much, but it's actually a pretty nasty bug. It's with when you're copying over tiles that have been renamed. So we introduced like renaming brain variable or variables that are in the brain, but any kind of variable we introduced that in the last title update. And if you like copy those, or I'm not sure if it's just the individual tile, or if you copied the line over, it can introduce a crash, which is obviously not good. So that's getting fixed. I know we've talked about, let's see, there's a couple other things in the second to last state of Spark. Um, oh, my favorite one for sure, we talked about this on stream too, is remembering your brain location. So whenever you exit a brain and then come back to it, it'll like bring you back on that line and in that spot like you were. So you return like at the code you were editing last time, basically, which is super helpful as you jump between. And it should remember that as you jump like from play to play and then back to, like to test and come back to edit, it should still remember that brain location. So that's gonna be super helpful and speed up create a lot. It's really hard to go back to. Like I've been using that internally for a really long time now, actually. And it's tough to go back and not have that. So really looking forward to that finally going out.
The other one was you may have mentioned this while you're talking because I was reading chat while doing so. You were talking. Uh, Being able to edit text strings, text literals.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did. No, I did not mention that one. I brought up the bug about it, but yeah. So now we did like variables before, but now actually like text literals can get changed. So that would be like the actual. This is like the big one, right? This is the one that everybody needed it for specifically. So any of those, it's the red box and it's just the text file and it's like whatever you want it to do. I think default ones are like greetings adventure is like or what have you, some of those. So those can actually be edited now, which is just going to be super helpful for if you have a spelling mistake or what have you. Need to just change it. It's going to help you not clutter up your wheel, or at this point you could at least delete variables now like that.
But you'd have to retype the whole thing, just
Yeah, we
change
would
one
retype the
word.
whole thing. So now this is pretty much that last pillar that we needed to like get that all in that needed to be there, the editing. variables.
The other thing, well, two other things. Object calling.
Oh yeah, that one's too. Man, we see this is why this is a huge update. There's also relaxing object culling is what it's called, the property,
Oh,
just a
sure.
terrible name. But what that reduces down to is it actually is a draw distance pretty much maximizer. Of course, it's going to hurt performance. So creators have to, keep that in mind when they're doing levels for it. But what it'll do is basically any prop at its smallest size like won't disappear for like 100 meters. I think is what our we tested it to. So a small cube primitive will actually stay in view for that long. But you have to be aware like there's going to be definitely performance
More so with the
trade-offs like
Xbox
with
than
that.
with the PC in most
Yeah. So
cases.
yeah, this is a big deal for Xbox in particular because the draw distance was so impacted previously. So this is a setting that'll, allow Xbox users for certain, for these worlds that have that checked, right, that they can basically view these things that have been non-viewable before. Like, people who want to do like pixel art or more like sprite kind of characters, things like that. In particular, primitives by far are like the most kind of use case that this gets brought up with all the time. Is really small primitives that disappear once you're like 2 meters away from it.
And one more thing before we move on to chat questions. The I forgot it. Well, I was coming up with a phrase to do the transition. Level locked champion items.
Yes. So that one, I don't think we've talked about that in a while, but yes. So in TU16, we are also like removing the level lock champion. We're not we're not removing the items. We're removing the locks from them. So like whenever basically if you have a champion, you'll be able to unlock have all the access to all those assets, which is gonna be really cool. So you don't have to like work your way up from level 1 conquer to level 20 conquer to get to use the chainsaw. Now you just get to use the awesome chainsaw right off the bat, which it's part of that like taking off restraints on creators, which we don't want to do, and we don't want our creators to be restrained. So I think removing that is a really really smart thing to do. Really glad to see that go out.
Mascot wanted to know, will it ever be possible to create text literals during gameplay?
That's not coming with TU16, so no like ETA on that. I understand why that'd be really cool though. I mean, I like one example I think is in Crossroads, you can actually do that, right?
Right.
Because as the edit text thing, but
Hmm.
that uses some trickery that's like not in code that actually like goes under the hood a little bit to do that and like pull up the keyboard and stuff. Um, but yeah, I can definitely understand why that would be super helpful, without a doubt. But yeah, that's not a TU16 thing.
And Zane Meteor wants to know, will you guys ever add a folder option to the assemblies area just so that you can better organize your assemblies?
Yeah, I can see how that would be super helpful too. That's not a TU16 thing. But yeah, we understand how many like amount of assets is there now. It's definitely like time consuming to scroll through, and then especially like assemblies in particular. There's like the user created ones and not. So even just having a separate folder for user created would be super helpful. But it's just an organization and a UI. Like any UI changes are actually pretty difficult or time, I should just say time intensive, um, or resource heavy to implement. But definitely, we've heard that request on that, and it's one of the more high feature requests actually is getting like organization options in that gallery.
So another thing that's been pretty much, I don't want to say plaguing, but an issue in Spark since pretty much their inception, achievements. Is there anything that's going to be done like to lessen this problem going forward?
That was I could have just brought this one up,
Yes,
but
because
yeah, you could
it's
do
part
your
T16,
setup.
so go for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So another thing that we're doing with TU16 is we're going to actually offer some alternatives on some achievements. It's going to, I mean, it really boils down to making some easier to unlock. And that's mainly to one, we have a couple achievements that we're just not, that are really, really difficult to achieve. that and they're just too rare. Not saying that it's not cool to have rare achievements, but there's this point where it's even so rare it's like ridiculous. Um, and so we're putting in alternatives, and the way that looks is there's going to be like conditional statements on achievements. So it's unlock it this way, which is the currently existing one, or do this other thing to unlock it.
So is an or
So
statement in code like press A or press space?
yeah, exactly. So it works the exact same way, where you could do either one to unlock it. An example is so these are mainly related to ratings and downloads achievements. So, um, you know, it's like for example, Hitmaker is like the 50,000 downloads, which is pretty. I mean, I think maybe 20 people at the most have Hitmaker, which is obviously super big achievement for those people, but that's obviously so rare compared to how many people actually play Spark. And the other thing is it leads to creator behavior we don't want to see or incentivize. We don't want people like feeling like they need to publish 0% remixes like constantly to get these achievements, or what have you at these achievement booster levels. Like we basically want alternatives to like having just spam feeds to try to get downloads. So like with Hitmaker, um, it's either do your get your 50,000 downloads, or it's play. I believe it is 14 hours of community games is like what the new one's gonna be.
And that's
So
another
that's
thing because one, people should have already acclimated a ton of UGC time if they were doing
Yeah,
other.
so one, you probably have already a ton of UGC time, and it's also like a play option. And
And there's easy
or if
ways
you're an
around it.
achievement hunter, you could actually just leave it idle on a game if you want to for 14 hours and go walk away and go do something else, right?
Indeed.
So the main thing is, there's definitely a better way to go about it if you care just about the achievement. Obviously, it's really cool, right? It's another alternative. Like it'll encourage people to play more UGC, and do it that way. Um, I know the 14-hour number is actually very strange. um, but funny enough about how these or statement achievements work is that they actually have to be a similar evaluation tool. So basically, it's 50,000 downloads or 50,000 seconds, which 50,000 seconds
Turns
actually
into, oh, that's funny.
yeah, it comes down to it's just a little bit less than 14 hours. But that is why that number gets found, because in order to do an or, it actually has to be the same number on in
That's
both statements.
kind of hilarious and awesome.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. So I pretty much planned all these achievements out and the alternatives for them. So I had to think about that in like ways to have things not really repeat. One thing for sure for most of them is the threshold or whatever for unlocking is not a higher quantity that would already exist. So I think like a new one we're introducing is like kill 500 bandits, and there's already an achievement for killing 1,000 bandits. So this one's like one that's naturally on the progression toward the 1,000. So it's not making you stretch any further, but those kind of things.
So this would also help prevent any more effort being needed to be put towards removing 0% remixes from the feed, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean this is part of like yeah, disincentivizing or really creating it so there's no reason, as far as at least achievement hunting. I mean, I think there always will be people who are uploading like 0% remixes, and that's probably just they're learning the system, but there's really nothing to gain.
Well, we can share the story of
But
the kid of the tester, right? At TD Studios, what he was trying to do and couldn't. He thought it was a bug. Do you remember what I'm talking?
oh, sure, yeah, go ahead, you can tell that story.
All right, so a kid at Team Dakota, the son of one of the testers, he can't write code himself, but he's pretty good at copying and pasting and then also like expanding something from it. So he copies code and then reuses it elsewhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's really he's like a wizard. It's pretty amazing.
for a 6-year-old especially. But
He's like 6, yeah. He's 6 and he's really good at Spark. Like for being able to like understand how to do all that with code.
And he's like making a legitimate effort of trying to remix stuff, not just out of a tree and try to steal credit as if he's the person who made it. But he just wants to make new levels and he can't do the code himself. So one user actually put in code into their level that if it wasn't that level, it would level link to his level. So if there was any remixes of that level, it would immediately link back to that level. And that
Hmm.
little kid thought the level was bugged, thought that he couldn't edit it because when he went into test mode, none of the changes would be there.
Yep. Yep. As soon as you went to play or to test it, and after editing, it would immediately read the line of code of if it's not this world, which it would recognize that it isn't because there's been changes to it, then it would level link back to that original world. So it's like a remix protection within like
So it was ingenious in a
Fortnite.
way, but it's
Yeah,
also like evil
it's a,
for that little kid.
it's super ingenious. Yeah, it's pretty evil though for the spirit of Spark of like open remixing and learning from each other and like exactly the use case of how the 6-year-old is using it. Like that is like how it was conceptualized, right? It's not about, people going and stealing creations and that. It's about like, this cooperative environment, go in and see something cool and add it to yours and but obviously it's super collaborative and not undermining each other.
I think the worst part was that people are so quick to say that something's a bug in Spark when they can't get something to work. So even more, and there are legitimate bugs in Spark that need to have attention, but then when something like this happens, it sounds like a new legitimate bug to that person.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I I see complaints all the time too about like frame rate and I know like I mean I've used Spark enough to know like there's a few things like particularly like Conker's Big Reunion we were having problems with like getting the frame rate a totally consistent experience. For some reason it would still end up running slower on some machines. But like for the most part, like a game would play the same way on, across things. Like obviously sometimes Xbox would be different from Windows, etc. But a lot of frame rate problems and stuff are just introduced by like, creations and creators trying to do too many things or, put their army down of 1,000 goblins and of course that's gonna like make the game run really slow. But people like interpret that as like, wow, Project Spark has a terrible frame rate. And it's really hard to explain why that's not like accurate in those cases. Especially like, I mean, right? It's either that we allow people to end up damaging the frame rate so much, or do we put little, whatever bumper, I think of like bowling, right? The little bumpers. Like,
Right.
do we restrict the bumpers so much that, you can only put 20 characters in a world because we don't want people to, crash it? And do we only, let only so many objects have tumbling physics? And I mean, that's just way too hands-on than we wanted to ever be. We want like creators that have some flexibility on where they want to, spend their performance.
So speaking of performance issues and such, there's also recently some connection issues to Spark. What was going on with that, and like when was it fixed?
Yeah, I know. So of course it's any weekend that there's like a holiday, long weekends or anything like this. This is always the case. Something is weird. But yeah, we had connection issues, especially on Sunday, was when most people actually couldn't get into the game itself. Um, and those all should be resolved now. Um, Not really much to say except for some stuff kind of went out of whack, and it took us to actually get in the office and like get it repaired fully. So sorry for any downtime that people had. I know that like the site isn't 100% yet. We definitely have people working on that. I know it for the most part it's you can navigate, but there'll be definitely tiny. I'm on the site all day long, so I get affected by those outages too that are like for 5 minutes and it just won't let me on the forums for some reason. It's far from ideal, but we're working on that. TU16 also is gonna have some things that help with our services and our connections there. So we're kind of waiting on that too to go out. Another thing is Treasure Trove. Yes, we're definitely aware of all the problems there as far as like the reset time and all these things. And I know where you've it, from from I know from you guys' perspective, something was like totally working, and then we're trying to mess with the time, and now things are totally botched, and it's just not a great experience. But that'll definitely be addressed in TU16 as well. But it'll probably be Treasure Trove will probably be not. It'll probably be doing this like 4.0, 4.5 weirdness on Sunday, Monday, probably for until we get TU16 out there. So just apologizing in advance. I'm sure there'll be, a thread next week on the same day talking about it, which is totally fair and should happen. But it'll be fixed for sure in TU16.
So for those who are still having ongoing service issues, wait until Q16 to see if they get resolved, and then complain some more if they're not.
Sorry, say that one more time. I
People
was
people that
looking
are
at.
still people some people are saying they're still having connection issues even after it has been declared as mostly resolved. So wait,
For the site or for
they seem
Spark
to be saying
itself?
for Spark itself. So they should wait until TU16 and then if they're still having issues, then
No. So for sure with like Spark should mostly be there. Really the only outstanding connection weirdness should be really Treasure Trove and having that timing sync and all that. So like no, you should be able to get on and play. So if you're not able to do that right now, definitely if you're not able to see like some of your content or things aren't loading, like that should not be the case.
so
So
sometimes I'll have like a little bit of a lag after I've been idle for a long time. Is that the service issue you're talking about, or are you talking about losing service in the middle of your actual activity?
yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between like some lag, but you're still connecting, and that's just stuff being slower and can be dependent on a ton of different things versus like totally being out and not being able to access like the marketplace, and it says you can't connect to services or any UGC. Um, we're obviously really concerned when like the game is totally inaccessible. Lag is dependent on a ton of different
Well,
stuff.
I meant lag as in like just a period of time after being idle that it just isn't connecting until it eventually does reconnect and then it stays connected afterwards. Whereas connection
Yeah, I
issues
mean
like
that's always like on PC, right? That's like if you minimize and don't go on Spark and then come back to it, it'll definitely take you out of services and then it'll take a second to get booted back up and connect.
all right, so if people are still having those issues, so they report them to you?
Well, the idle ones like
No,
is
not
always
the
the
idle, but
case.
the actual never getting connected.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. So let us start up a forum thread, or probably the best thing to do is send a support ticket. So support is just that little tab on the community site, so on the front of the forums. So send it that way. I get those and receive them, and we can investigate together. So definitely do that.
All right, so there's been a bunch of requests by Zane. I'm going to go ahead and run through them. I'm pretty sure the answer is all no. Add customization for character body parts like eyes, like growing them individually, growing or shrinking eyes, legs, that sort of thing individually. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
Attachment
as far
locations like
as
fingers. Like I said, I'm going to run through all these because I'm sure the answer is all no.
yeah,
Uh,
we do the model like as the model, and we pretty much we restrict the character studio swapping of parts to like the head, hat, and clothes. So any like adding different parts of the body just isn't something we haven't decided to roll out. I mean, it's really cool, right? If I could go, I see like a lot of use cases for that. Like I want to have a zombie arm instead of like a human arm, or kind of go limb by limb and kind of build a custom character that way. But just the way like our animation set works and how characters get in game, they're kind of one model, and so that swappable part doesn't happen.
and how about an advanced, like an animation studio outside of, so you can animate characters without using the Kinect?
Yes, that's a pretty frequently asked like really large feature. So no announcements on like an animation editor or anything like that yet. But that's definitely that's a top request that we know about.
And
Um,
the final nope is
the final note or something.
being able to turn specific body parts invisible.
Uh, so yeah, no on that either. As far as right now. Um, But one thing is, I definitely recommend checking out where Andrew streams. He's been doing and they're on the community's YouTube channel now. So Project Spark Community has a YouTube channel now, if you didn't know. And he's working on this first-person horror, and he actually has these. He's kind of using these old characters, so they're not supported at all. They're like characters from Alpha. So they're used at your own risk, but you basically they're like invisible, and you can toggle things on them based on characters like in Character Studio. So you can like have something that only has legs or just a torso or what have you. That guarantee though, there's 100% crashes when using those. So you need to be careful about what you're doing. I would, if you're going to use that stuff, I would ask community for like best practices for people who are already familiar with those things. Last thing I want is like your creation to get stuck in some endless crash and you can never get back into it and fix it because you set it up to always crashes upon entering.
Yeah. Those alpha characters were really cool, but I also tried to use one for the alien competition where you wanted us to create an alien for the Spark episode, and it was really fun because I had a toad attached to the head socket of the character that had no head.
Yep.
So lo and behold, when he turned his head, it just went way out into the distance and just kept moving with him, and then further out every time he moved.
So this fish just was like,
It was a
floating
frog,
away.
but yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, frog.
So it's not all it's unsupported basically is
It
the
is it is definitely unsupported.
and
But
so don't expect it to work flawlessly for everything you try to do that like as a normal character would go.
yeah.
Yes, Corey can make them exploding frogs if he wishes.
Yes.
And Mescad provided the link to the community channel
Yep.
that Word is uploading to.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
And in Spark is what are souls made of? Question mark.
I don't really have it. I mean, I guess that's like a question for you guys, or like it's kind of up. I mean, it's like a mysterious thing. Like we don't have an answer for that in our own lore of being just humans, right? So as far as like the Spark universe, I don't know if they've determined what souls are made out of either.
The correct answer is sugar. Souls are
Sugar,
made out of
yeah.
sugar.
Oh man, I got it wrong. Dang it.
And speaking of making stuff up, what are you guys going to show tomorrow?
Oh, no, 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 no. That is definitely going to be a surprise for tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it.
So, what can you like tease it a little bit? Like, what? So tomorrow's the creation stream. Blah blah blah.
No,
Go.
no, no, no. So I'm not gonna tease what we're gonna do tomorrow because that's gonna be I don't want to take away from that.
I just want you to say that it's a big thing that you should watch. That's all I was looking for.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. It's a really cool thing. It's not like I mean it's not like the hugest thing ever. So like don't like expect like the announcement of like Spark 2 or something. Like but it's really cool.
Are we
You'll
talking
definitely be
prop?
happy
Are we
to
talking feature? Are we talking High School
I mean
Musical?
it's not a feature, it's like content is like the best way to describe it.
Okay, just
So
wanted to
yeah.
get some kind of context. 'Cause some people are like, "It's a music editor." I know, guys. I know it's a music
Yeah,
editor.
it's not a music editor.
Um, Reminds me of one of the questions that was asked in chat. Will there ever be a way to import music into Spark?
No, that's a really high community request. I think that's like number 2 or 3. No announcements there yet. But that would be really cool.
It would be, because you can hold your Connect speaker up to your Connect recorder up to a speaker and try to record some music, but it's always going to come out not as great as just having the file itself.
Yeah, obviously, like trying to, that's just like pain anyway. That is not a good user experience. Like the main thing that Connect was like introduced for anyway. I mean, we knew people could do music through it, but it was mainly for like capturing voice and like doing like
Hmm.
VO and animating, um,
So
is the
now
main purpose for Connect. But yeah,
Connect can do 10 minutes of recording, but if you have the right sound file, it could. Well, no, that's kind of interesting because there is the 10 megabyte limit per level in Spark, and
there
if you were
is.
able to upload sounds into Spark, 10 megabytes of sound isn't all that much.
Yeah, like pretty much any 3-minute song you can think of, I think, depending on what file,
Format, yeah.
yeah, file format it is would hit that. So it would have to be pretty heavily compressed. Not that it would make it terrible, but
But yeah, I guess if you guys could figure out a way around that, that'd be awesome. Because if it didn't count against your cap of 10 megabytes levels, and you just had
mhm.
like some little buffer area, like for music or whatever, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And oops, I just accidentally closed the window that had the tablets in it because those little X's are so
Yeah.
close together
Oh
when
yeah.
you're
Well, I have my thing I have a thing I want to talk about. So this is a fun, I want to send some people on a goose chase right now. Hopefully they don't totally exit Spark. So this is our exit the stream, but this is kind of fun. So um, about a week ago, or within the last week, there was actually a new a new prop added to everybody's gallery,
really,
and no one has noticed it yet.
really
This is true.
unintentionally or intentionally added.
I'm not going to answer that question. Everything we do is super intentional, no. But there is a new prop in everybody's gallery that's been there for like a week, and not a single person has discovered it or has brought it up.
Huh. So where should we look for this? Like, it's not, obviously not a character because I would have been noticed immediately.
Yeah, no, it's a prop. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a prop.
Huh. I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty funny.
this had been added while I was in studio then.
Yeah,
And they did. Did you guys not? No, you guys couldn't have known. You would have told me, I
yeah.
think.
We we discovered that this thing actually ended up being in production, which is our term. That production is our term for what the currently shipped in build is. So but yeah, it was we were very surprised to see it.
Okay, so that's the end of the Sparkcast. I'm gonna go look for this prop because I don't know which one it is. I know.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I'm curious to see if, for the rest of the time, if anybody in chat ends up seeing they found it. But I wanted to mention it so there was some time for people to, if they were gonna hunt in their galleries.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Um,
And I believe it's not marked. It should be like like everybody should own it. I don't think it's marked for a content pack.
so no filtering by tag then.
Yeah, I don't think it's put on a tag. It shouldn't be because like the tag I think it would get marked with is a tag that you guys should not know about yet.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That makes me wonder if that showed up in game then too. I need to go look.
The
That's
ta
too
so
funny
now
because that
now Meska's gonna find the tag that wasn't supposed to
I
be
know
there.
I should stop talking.
Too late.
Yeah.
So last week I visited the office and we did the Sparkcast that Wednesday, but we didn't do the Sparkcast the Wednesday I returned because I was still flying home at the time the Sparkcast
Yeah,
went
that's
live.
right. So last week we didn't do it, but the week before we did.
So that means we didn't talk about PAX at all on a
That's true. We didn't
Sparkcast.
talk about PAX. PAX was really fun.
We actually saw something that was kind of similar to Spark in a way, like a 2D version, sort of, not kind of, not really.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. So we spent a lot of time at that place. So it was in the indie mega booth, I think is what it's
Right.
called, Indie Games mega booth. And what you're referring to is Planet. Well, so there's two things. So they were showing off their engine and then a game that they made with their engine. So think Project Spark and then Champions Quest. So their engine was called 2D Crush, right?
No, yeah, the engine was called 2D Crush, right?
And then the game was called Planetoid Explorers.
Yes.
Okay. But it was pretty cool. So it's all super 2D focused, but their engine was pretty neat in the fact like it would do like basically any image could go and get dropped into this thing and you could go in and actually customize its behavior, although you'd have to know actual pretty like scripting language, which was called
Dua.
Lua. Lua. So you'd have to know how to use that, but you could go in and customize the behavior of that asset that you're bringing in. But it was really cool. The one thing that I was like blown away by is he had like the game open in a window, and then he had a file explorer and another, and he was able to like take a PNG file from this folder and like drop it into the actual like world window, and like whatever that thing like immediately popped up in the world as like whatever it was supposed to be. So it was like, I'm gonna just drop this vehicle, and it was like the PNG file of like the vehicle, and it dragged and dropped and like just dropped it like in the world.
The cool thing
Um,
was it is just an image file, but it had additional data in there that would tell it what behaviors and stuff like that it would have. So it
yeah,
wasn't a simple
exactly.
image.
Yeah, this like a PNG that was like heavily loaded with other data, which I have no idea how like the Lua, script is tied to that or what have you, but it was
Somehow
really interesting.
it was an image that was like the image was created outside of the game, but it was brought into the game in an editor, and then they saved that PNG with the code and stuff like that back outside of the engine. So you would use that one PNG that you just created from the engine to go back into the engine and be in the part of the world.
Yep. And then the other thing that was cool is like anything that went through that was also like fully destructible, I guess is the way to call it. Like I mean, you could like they'd have like a robot, and it could be like it was just this image of a robot. It had all this behavior attached to it, and then you shoot at the robot, and then like you would break off its arm and break off like its leg, and I have no idea where how it like knew, right? I don't know if it's the Lua scripting that like would do it, or if it's some other magic of the engine, but like it would know its leg was blown off, and so it would like start crawling toward you, and like had all this behavior that it could understand like its physics and the state that it was in. And it was really neat, like how, just like the image could get dropped in like that and like behave. It was pretty neat.
The part I liked was when he was bringing in like terrain and stuff like that. It would come in as a rectangle, right? Because that's the default shape of it. But then you could, in the engine, change the
Oh,
shape of it to
distort it.
bend
Yeah,
it.
that was one thing that was like really important. Like I think like the whole thing like with knowing the scripting language of like Lua, right? That's pretty intimidating. Like they don't have something like code where that kind of teaches you like a visual programming language. It's like tries to ease it and makes it more accessible. So, but the one thing that they do have is like basically taking any 2D image you bring in and like immediately distorting it. I didn't see them do that with any characters. I'm assuming you probably could do that though.
That'd be really
Or at
weird,
least
but
make it,
yeah.
yeah. But definitely like they were able to just like pick up terrain and like move it around, but it was like just a picture, right?
Mhm. But it was cool that it would bend. It wasn't just um, a I'm not even sure how to describe it, but it was actually a curved bend as opposed to a just
Yep.
45-degree. Every
Yeah, it
pixel had
wasn't
to stay.
hard. It like actually curved it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that's so I think we were like there for like a half hour probably talking the guy's ear off just because we were interested. So yeah, if you're, super into 2D, stuff and give that a look.
Right. It could
I
only
think
be
it's
used
like
to make side scrollers, right?
yeah, only basically have only concentrated on side scrollers, or I guess you could do top down, but they didn't show us like a good
Right.
example of that in action.
Though with the 2D, they were able to do two different versions of it. One was like a planetoid, like circular, you could walk
Oh
around the
yeah, that's right.
surface, and the
So
other one
there's
was they
like
turned it off, and then you could just be a flat side scroller with no um, uh, what's the word for looking for? Vector rotation.
yeah, so there was like the perspective of like you're moving around the planet, so it's always like this, and you like walk all the way around the surface, and then there's also like the straight up like just a square, and it like never
Castlevania type
changes.
thing.
Hmm.
So Zane wants to know, is it the shovel?
It is not the shovel.
Okay. And tears will flow forth.
Yeah, I mean I can say it's toward the later part of your prop gallery, so it's in later in the alphabet. There's a hint.
Okay, I'm really curious now. Well, so shovel
I,
is
I don't
cool.
expect very many people to like know it. And then I'll probably say that, and then I'm gonna be like extremely surprised because people are gonna be like, I think this was there like 3 months ago, because it definitely was not. It shouldn't have been.
So back to PAX, we saw some games that were pretty fun co-op ones. There was that one that we watched the video for, but we didn't actually play.
Which one was
The
that?
one with the sock puppets that were killing each other in the
Oh, Gang Beasts.
yeah, Gang Beast.
Yeah, that one looks really cool. It's just like a really fun couch co-op. I don't know if you can do it like over, online. Don't know if that game's even coming to Xbox or not. I'm sure it's gonna at least be on PC, but you just are like these like sock animals, and you're just punching each other. And I don't know. I hope to see like I wanted to see it get like I haven't seen tons of features like put into it where like I've only seen the same thing for like ever since the game was announced, where it's just like rotating stages and it's like the same four characters battling it. Like
Mhm.
I actually have no idea if there's like bots. I have no idea if there's like you can choose your stage. I have no idea like what the scoring system really looks like, or exactly if you can do online or what have you. But it just looks like a really fun time because you're just like a sock animal, like just punching like each other like crazy.
Well, I think trying to throw the other person off was the bigger thing than punching, but you
Yeah,
could
you
punch,
like
try
you,
to.
you can like grab onto them and then yeah.
It wasn't like you were trying to lower their health bar. You were just trying to get them to fall outside the zone of uh of playing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like it was I mean it was like how Smash Brothers is. It's like you want to knock them out of their arena, so like the environment plays a really important part. And so like all the stages are pretty different. Um so yeah. No, that one's cool. I'm looking forward to, hopefully that I really want that to be on Xbox. Mainly like that just seems like a game, when people come over like, "Oh, let's just do this for, 20 minutes and this would be awesome." Um,
The other fun one we went through, what we actually played was Chicken Horse.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That one was really fun. Is that the title of it
Yeah,
specifically,
I
Chicken
think it's like
Horse?
the Incredible Chicken Horse or something.
Okay. With the one, so that's like the party game where you like pick the objects, right? And then it's like the obstacle course, so you try to like get through it. You want to make it hard for everyone else, but not hard for you.
Right, so you want to make sure that everybody else has a bad time. So
Yep.
they every person can complete a stage and get credit for completing that stage, but every succession you will add new uh, obstacles or platforms. So each iteration you add more stuff, and fewer people are expected to complete it, and the person who had completed it the most times at the end of all the iterations wins.
Hmm. Yeah, that one was really fun. I like that one a lot.
It was yeah, both that and the sock puppet punching thing seems like they would be a lot of fun to play while drinking at a party.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I mean, come on, we're like a creator crowd, so I should mention, I don't think you had hands-on time with it, but I did. But I got to do some Mario Maker, and that comes out in like 2 days. So that was actually pretty fun.
I don't think we're even allowed to talk about that because of Nintendo's streaming policy.
For what?
Nintendo's streaming policy, they won't let anybody stream their games on Twitch or on YouTube.
Oh, you can have a discussion about it?
I'm teasing, but yeah. Like
Okay. I don't know. I don't fall like I don't know about that
so it's
stuff.
actually a big deal that they're like actively pursuing like they have the YouTubers doing the play Mario Maker thing, right? That's because they were actually Nintendo reached out to them specifically to play Mario Maker on streams and record it,
Mm,
but nobody else is pretty much allowed to.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I got to go hands-on with it, and it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, if you want to make a really good Mario game, like, obviously, that's what that is all about. I mean, I think people who want, like, a ton of flexibility, um, it just depends, because there's flexibility in, like, the stages, and it's all about, like, the level design. You can't really introduce, like, a new element that's not from like a Mario game. I think the upside to that is it's really easy to make something fun really fast. Like I think you can make a really cool Mario stage in like an hour. Where like, I think obviously trying to mimic something like in Spark would take a lot longer because we don't have like all these things that would just magically plug and play like that. Um, we have our default stuff's very geared toward like Champion's Quest and like the third person adventure kind
Right.
of thing. But yeah, like I mean, it was fun. Like it was, I did like creating back and forth with some of my friends who were there with me too, and like create something. Okay, I did the first part. Now you do the second part and all that. But I mean, definitely like if you guys have a Wii U, like I mean, there's no not particular reason not to pick it up. Like one thing I thought that they're doing that's interesting is like the 9 days kind of wait. So like it takes 9 days to get access to everything, but you have to basically every day you play and you have to play for like at least 5 minutes. Then the next day you log in, you get more things. So it takes 9 days to get access to everything. But what it allows you to do is like know whatever the new things you got that day. You get to play around with them and experiment them and get to know them really well. So it's kind of gated like that arbitrarily. So I mean, I think more advanced users might be bothered by that, but I mean, I think for a general user. It's kind of a natural progression where and it makes people like excited to come log in the next day and see what's up. Um,
So
I mean, it's definitely interesting.
I was excited about Mario Maker, and then I found out that it already existed before. It was
I see. I don't know the history. I think you mentioned this briefly to me, but I
right.
don't know the backstory on that.
The history is actually that a fan made this a long time ago, and it was up pretty much hardly known by anybody. There was a community for it, but it wasn't like huge. And then uh, evidently Nintendo saw it and was like, "Huh, that's a good idea. We can make money on that." So they built it internally, and then on the same day they announced it, they sent him a cease and desist letter, so he had to shut down his website that was doing this Mario Maker thing for free.
Hmm.
So that kind of ruined the whole process to me. But I mean, if they were to make a Metroid Maker or so you can make Metroidvania games for yourself, I would be more interested in that than I would in a Mario Maker where all you can do is jump and shoot those little.
Yeah, you want something that has like more combat focus
Yeah,
and like boss fights and stuff.
yeah. If you could even create some.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, who knows if there's enough interest like in Mario Maker, like maybe they would do a Metroid one or even as I mean, I'd probably expect like a Zelda one probably before Mario. They would probably go like
sure.
their from the strength of their like franchises, but
I mean, I could do a Zelda Maker. That'd be fine for me.
yeah, that'd be cool. You could get a lot like and that would focus on like top down. I don't know. What would be even cooler is all of these things combined in an ultimate
We'll call it.
Nintendo Maker.
We'll
I don't know.
call it Nintendo Spark. That actually would be pretty fun though. If they were, yeah, that's actually a good direction I think for a creation engine where it would.
It
So Mario
focuses
Maker.
like on their the games that are part of their like or their first party or whatever.
Well, I mean, even like with Spark, we've seen people are mostly just trying to recreate things that already exist.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, there's definitely experimentation, but there's a lot of people who want to like see their favorite game remade or remake their favorite game.
Yeah, I mean, step one of like learning something is recreating something else.
Yep.
Like whether it be playing guitar, you're playing covers of other people's music. You're not writing your own music at first.
Yeah.
Well, step one was learning how to actually do the notes, but still. Um, but with like a creation engine, if you were to start with something that people already know and they already like, and if they were able to tinker with that just a little bit to make it their own, I think that'd be a much more powerful tool than just with Mario Maker. It's like, all right, plug and play, 5 minute limit on each level. That's it. I think
Hmm.
it's a good start, but I think they need to go a little further with it. Have you been
Yeah.
paying attention to chat to see if anybody has asked, I mean, given it because they've said,
I have not seen, I've been watching that. Yeah, I haven't seen props, or the prop yet. People are mentioning like Woodman Axe was definitely already in there. All the Woodland Rocks were like in there. Definitely it's a W though, so you guys are like in the rightish area. It starts with a W.
well, it's gonna be funny if it turns out it wasn't actually live, and it's only like you guys internally that see it live or something.
I was on production, so like I mean I was on the same things that you guys should be seeing. I mean maybe not, maybe it's not there, but it I was really I mean I we saw this like 30 minutes before this stream tonight, so
That's funny.
yeah. Oh, so another fun thing I want to do because we're getting closer to time. Let me see here. So yeah, so I couldn't give you any hints about um what am I saying? I
What
couldn't
are you
give
gonna
you any
stream
hints
tomorrow?
about tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's stream. But I do have, I want to say three random, I'm going to actually talk about three random props that are going to be coming um, into Spark. And it's kind of funny because the way that they're going to get, they're all different. So like the way that they're going to get in is, it might be treasure trove, it might be something else. Um, hey, hey, somebody got it. It's the wind catcher.
Okay, well, that seems like a random prop, but sure.
Yeah, the wind catcher showed up into the gallery, and that the wind catcher should I think was not supposed to be there, but it is now in the gallery for everybody.
I think I remember seeing this prop when you guys were in studio though. Doesn't it look like it's part of like the Woodlands biome though? Like it was just made a long time ago and just not added in?
Well, kind of, but I mean, it was made a decent while ago, but it was part of um, something else for sure.
Okay, so what are the three props we should see?
Yeah, so I'm so glad you guys got the wind catcher. That's pretty awesome. So that was Leviathan found it. So Muscad's saying it's part of the hunter's camp. It shouldn't be.
Huh. Yeah, because it wasn't part of
I,
that back then,
I'd be
was it?
really, really surprised if that was part of hunter's camp. If it is, then something's messed up. But all right, I won't go. That's really surprising. Okay. Anyway, three things that I definitely know are not in game that will be coming in game soon. So these are going to be really random. So the first one, which we've actually already teased and have said it's been in the works, but I kind of wanted to just confirm that is coming to a Project Spark near you, is a poleless flag. So a flag, basically the flag that comes in leaderboards, but it will be without the pole, which will help a lot for people who want to attach that to people's like capes and things like that.
And will this be checkered by default?
Um, I believe it is checkered, but you can like color tint it to be solid if you want.
Right. And that's how someone could make even more amazing hair without having it all go in the same direction, like Project Sparker had to do.
Yeah, exactly. Where all the poles are like kind of like
In her head.
it's yeah. So you'll just be getting a poleless flag, which is pretty awesome. I don't know if we're gonna call it poleless flag because that is just the weirdest name ever, but
Call
that's
it
what it
Flag
is.
B. There you go.
Yeah, flag B. Apparently, it's part of Hunter's camp, so I need to go
Check
figure out
that.
what's going on now after stream. Because if
It
that's
may
part
have.
of Hunter's camp, then
I think what
we,
happened was probably it was like accidentally given that tag, so it was automatically released when it was given that tag or something.
yeah, I don't know, because I'm extremely surprised.
I'm sure Brian's gonna be extremely surprised as well.
Yeah, Brian's gonna be more surprised than I am because Brian was telling me like he found the wind catcher. Anyway,
It's definitely not
so
Wizard Tent.
yeah, it's not Wizard's Tent. Okay, so the other two props. So the next one is so this one is actually something we worked on a really long time ago and didn't release, but we basically found it and we want to actually release it now. But it is a street lamp.
Okay.
So yes, so it is. I know these are really random, which is pretty funny. And so you guys will have to figure out whatever's going on with it. But so there's a street lamp, and it was like the first iteration that we ever did for the actual like current hanging lamp, um, that is like in game now. But this was like the current hanging lamp that we have in game is like version 5, but this street lamp is actually like version 1 or 2. But it looks, I mean, it's very like Victorian-ish actually.
But it could
So
still work as part of like the castle and like
yeah,
between the
it could
village
kind of
along the
fit. It
road
could
or
honestly
whatever.
kind of fit for Realms, but it's weird. It's not like it definitely is not like perfectly fit into it. But yeah, um, it's so Street Lamp is the second prop that will be coming to a Project Spark near you.
And the final one,
And the final one is probably the most exciting of all. You're gonna
Rock
laugh,
X.
huh?
Rock X.
No, yeah, I know. Rock, whatever letter that we're currently on. Um, no, so this one it was like 3 years in the making, and now it is totally perfected. But it is a stalk of wheat.
Oh, fantastic. Like an actual, is this a plant or?
This is like vegetation, so it's like a puff of like coming out of the ground of like wheat
Okay, that should have gone
vegetation.
with a like
I figured
haunted
I'd pick
corn.
the three most random props that I could. So there's Polis flag, street lamp, and stalk of wheat.
Okay then,
So there you go. Boom.
stock of wheat. So now you can make wheat fields, I
Yeah.
guess.
Look at Chad is blowing up. Chad just loves the wheat.
Well, they grew up on Wheaties, so
That makes sense. Yeah, they're so excited right now. Like chat is like it's faster than like a League of Legends championship move final countdown. Like it's just like flooding with like
those
just
emote O's like, oh my god.
yeah,
Yeah.
tro Kappa Kappa and yeah,
Well, they wouldn't
flip
cap in that
tables and
situation,
stuff.
but anyway,
I don't know what they Kappa for in that situation. What situation did they Kappa for?
cap is when they're being sarcastic. Like, oh,
I didn't,
that was an easy match, Kappa, or watch out, there's a ghost behind you, Kappa, that sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so Wind Catcher is definitely not new, so that's hilarious.
Well, it might be. Here's the thing.
Obviously, we all know what we're talking about, and yeah,
That's
I'm,
hilarious.
I can't wait to go back now. I'm gonna like laugh so much when I'm gonna like walk down the hall and just like laugh because
Because
it's hilarious to me.
I know that meant that someone had spent a lot of extra work on it this week, and
Somebody did spend some extra time on that for no reason.
that's hilarious. Okay. And on that bombshell, we're gonna go ahead and end this SparkCast.
I'm so happy about this. All right.
So next week we'll be able to gloat, get Brian's reaction, Brian's take on
That
his reaction
I
because he'll be
can't.
joining us.
I'm can't wait to go tell Brian right now.
Okay.
I'm laughing too hard.
All right. So we will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for asking your questions in chat. Thanks, Thomas, for
Yep.
joining us.
Thanks everybody in chat. I appreciate it like always. We'll catch you next week on SparkCast. It'll probably be Brian, not myself, but otherwise, definitely tune in tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Gonna be a really cool stream.
3 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah, we'll be using more. Yes, it's 3 o'clock specific.
No, Pacific.
Pacific. You know, I can't pronounce anything. If anybody's ever learned that about me from all these streams, it's I can't pronounce anything. But yes, 3 o'clock. We're gonna be reviewing. We're gonna be doing some more bog stuff, but we're gonna be showing off a particularly very exciting new thing. So come check it out with us. It's gonna be really cool.
All right, guys. See you guys next week. Night.
Yep. Bye, guys.
All right. So
Cool.
thanks again for letting me stick up with you. That was really awesome.
Oh yeah, of course, no problem.
After getting the
Uh,
cats out of the room the first night.
I know. After I had to like run under the bed and grab them.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I can't. I'm looking forward to going telling Brian right now. I'm gonna laugh so much.
So are you guys gonna show off the new clothing tomorrow?
The new clothing
Mm-hmm.
on. I know what you're talking about, and the answer is no. Actually,
Oh, okay.
we're gonna be showing off something else that is very more epic and much larger,
So
and
you've
I'm
already
gonna
gathered
leave
that.
it at that.
All right, so you already gathered it next to turn off the stream. Okay. No spoilers this week, guys. We'll have to actually tune
That was
in.
enough. That was a decent. That was more of a hint than I gave before.
So those who stayed for the after show could actually see it. All right. Good night, guys.